In this episode of Another Zelda podcast, David and Kate talk about some of their favorite side quests from Breath of the Wild. Hello and welcome to Another Zelda podcast. I am David Geisler, your host for this episode, along with my co-host, Kate Fischer. Kate Fischer, you're back. How are you?
I'm good.
How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy. That's why I had to step away for a couple episodes. But I'm back, and I'm happy to be back, and I'm excited to talk some more Zelda.
Wonderful. Yes. How you had some massive life stuff happening, that's all going well now.
Yeah, summer's always super.
That implied that it wasn't. I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant.
Everything was terrible. Now it's fine. No, it's fine. No, I just had camping trips and wedding planning and all sorts of other stuff going on. But the summer is winding down, and with it, all the other crap that I do. So I'm back in action podcasting.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Great. Fantastic. Yeah. We're ready to get going again. We are back to our regular shenanigans here with our episodes.
Yes.
Most of our listeners have listened to somewhat special episodes before this. And today,
a very special episode.
This week on a very special episode of Another Zelda podcast. David learns, I don't know what bullying is. I don't even know what it is. David learns a real lesson. We are talking about favorite side quests.
Yes, specific
today.
To Breath of the Wild.
Favorite side quests in Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
We will probably do some episodes about favorite side quests in some other games, some other time, but we're talking about Breath of the Wild. There's been a lot of Breath of the Wild talk lately.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, we have a Patreon special episode where we discuss the news of Breath of the Wild's new placement in the official timeline.
Yes.
We speak about that over there. But for now, I think we're just going to get right into it. Actually, I have some listener feedback that I want to share.
Awesome.
Kate.
Let's get into it.
We have been receiving many tweets and many Facebook posts and Instagram comments, and that's all been very exciting. But today I'm going to focus on some of our iTunes reviews.
Okay.
It's been a real treat to see these things roll in. It's very exciting. And again, just the listeners and how much they are engaging with us in this show has been an unexpected joy.
Really cool. So cool to see people commenting and messaging and reviewing from other countries. Blows my mind every time. The internet is a crazy place and thing.
I love it. And so
cool.
Let's see. We have a few here that I'm going to talk about. One we have from an M. Spath. That's the username. And M. Spath here said on iTunes, I'm semi-new to The Legend of Zelda, have learned a lot from several books and from YouTube videos. I found out about this series a little over a year ago, and I have enjoyed it. Now, I'm starting to play some of the games, Breath of the Wild, Hyrule Warriors, so this is probably like a Switch player, I would guess. I came across your podcast a little over 2 months ago and have enjoyed each episode. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, M. Spath.
Awesome. And yeah, I hope they listen to our other episodes that are not Breath of the Wild related once they start playing those games. And
I would like to speak to that for a moment, actually.
Okay.
Our analytics show that a lot of people are going back and listening to the older episodes, which is kind of, this podcast is designed to be that way. We don't really number the episodes. We do put numbers on them, but we don't consider them to need to be listened in order or anything.
Not at all.
It's more like, it's almost like, it's like a Netflix show. We just lay it down. Well, I guess in a Netflix show you want to watch in order, but oh boy, I'm really having a hard time here getting back into this normal format.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Right, certainly. So I have another listener review here from iTunes that I'd like to talk about. Now, this is from a B Brino. BBRYNO.
Okay.
And they said, amazing show. After listening to a different Zelda podcast and it ending, I have been searching for a good quality Zelda podcast and I finally found one.
Aww.
You guys are great. Also have been playing along with Tandem Legends. I love revisiting these amazing games. Now, Tandem Legends right now, they're in the middle of Ocarina. And I've also had I've had a nice time listening to their show. It's another cool podcast out there about Zelda.
Yeah.
And I hope that we are podcast neighbors with them.
Podcast friends.
You know?
Podcast buddies.
Cool. So let's see. Kate, side quests.
Yes.
Side quests in Breath of the Wild. Now, I don't know. Let me see here. Let me bring up my notes. I have picked. Yeah.
And these are not related to shrine quests.
So I
want to make that distinction.
Well, here's the thing. You know, when I had Lizzie on as a guest, we talked about our favorite shrines.
Yes.
And we kind of by accident found that we did not select Shrine Quest shrines in our top 10 list.
Okay.
I think because we really, in our show notes before that, when we were talking about Lizzie coming on the show, it was all about the design inside these shrines,
Yeah.
and like the really
The
well-designed
puzzles
shrines.
themselves, yeah.
Mhm. So we found that we weren't doing shrine quests. So I think we're going to save that. We'll do an episode of shrine quests because there are some really good ones out there on Breath of the Wild. So when we were putting together our side quest notes here up on Google Drive, I slacked you the other day and I was like, oh no, wait. Don't do shrine quests. We're going to do that in a different episode, just in case, because shrine quests are kind of side quest adjacent, aren't they?
But I was cool with that because I don't think I had any actually.
Cool.
So
I didn't either.
all set.
Well, let's see here. I've been kind of stumbling into this episode. I've been chatting quite a bit here. Why don't we start with you? Do you have any, let me ask you this. Let's start by just kind of setting the scene here just a little bit. When playing Breath of the Wild, I was actually reading a really cool article about Breath of the Wild just the other day. And I'm sorry I don't have the source right now, but maybe I'll throw it in our show notes retroactively. But this person who was writing this article was speaking about how Breath of the Wild as an open world game kind of does the opposite of what a lot of other open world games does. And this writer was speaking to the idea that in a typical open world game, there is a main quest that is very specific, and then side quests are placed on the way. And with Zelda, with Breath of the Wild, a lot of times your main quests are super vague. Like you're kind of like, it's like destroy Ganon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There are like 4 main quest things. I kept waiting for something else to come up, but it was
true.
like, get the Divine Beast, destroy Ganon. That's it.
Maybe, just maybe, some of the most specific ones are when they tell you to go talk to Impa or something like that.
Right.
But even then you're like, cool, who and where is Impa and all that stuff. I mean, there's a little glowing dot on my map, but otherwise I don't really know what I'm doing. And so this article was talking about how actually Breath of the Wild takes the main quests and peppers them in the path of the side quests in many ways, is what this article was positing.
Yeah, and you just kind of stumble upon the side quests everywhere you go, which is cool. Like, I hadn't played for a while, and I played last night for the first time in quite a while because I've been playing other Zelda games for our show as well as other games in general.
Episode 20, Minish Cap review.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so I just finished that one, and then I'm playing other games too, and I think I stumbled upon, 5 new side quests, and I only played for like half an hour.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And obviously not all of them take the longest amount of time. You might just have to like give someone something that you already have in your inventory, and then you've completed it in like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
always a nice little bonus.
no, okay.
You're like, if only I had the blah, blah, blah sword. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, it smells like you have a blah, blah, blah sword. They always say smells in this game. Did you ever notice that?
No, but that's very weird.
Well, I think what it is
I
because...
smell those luminous stones.
Yes, you'll get that. You'll get that from time to time from an NPC. And I think it's because they don't really have how else do they communicate an animation of like, Link doesn't talk in Breath of the Wild. So they don't have a dialogue tree like in Mass Effect or something where it's saying like, by the way, I have luminous stones or I have volt mushrooms or something like that. So many of the NPCs in their side quests are like, oh, what's that smell? Do you have volt mushrooms?
I checked your bottomless pockets and I found something.
Oh, man. So anyway, oftentimes in previous Zelda games, I steer clear of the side quests. Even though we've spoken about how I like to roam around in these Zelda games, sometimes the side quests I'll do them a little bit here and there. But in previous Zelda games, how do you usually treat side quests?
It depends what the task is. I like the trading quests. Those are kind of fun to do as long as it kind of goes along with the main quest. As long as you don't have to go some crazy side route or something like that. If it kind of goes along with the normal game, I like to do the trading quests. In any game, not even Zelda games, but I just came across a trading quest in a completely different game that I'm playing right now, and I kind of think that's fun, and it reminds me of Zelda. I tend to stay away from timed things.
Oh, yes.
And then I don't know if you consider like the carnival game.
I kind of do.
Being a side quest.
I always give every little carnival game that shows up in so many Zelda games. I always try it once. Like Wind Waker, it's the little cannon thing.
Yep.
Twilight Princess has that crazy like cage of colors and death in Hyrule Town.
Yep.
What is it? What do you do? Oh, that's the hook shot. You're doing. Oh, by the way,
I think so, yeah.
We did get some listener feedback, and I don't have the reference here about how we were talking about the double hook shot in Twilight Princess, and we've called it the double hook shot in our items episode and our Twilight Princess episode. And this person pointed out that there is a slight difference. And person, I'm so sorry that I'm not giving you credit right now, but it was one of our listeners. They said actually it's the double claw shot.
Yes, I saw that.
The hook shot is designed to go into wood, and so anything made out of wood, the hook shot can kind of stab into and grab onto. The claw shots could only attach to other pieces of metal that are like a ring that they can actually clamp onto.
Oh, okay.
And of course, yeah, that's absolutely true. Mechanically, somewhat similar, but here's an example of where it's not similar. The hook shot in Ocarina of Time, to get into the Forest Temple, you figure out to hook shot the tree branch.
Yep.
Which is very different than the mechanics of like a claw shot. So
My brain cannot understand the different. No, I'm just that makes sense.
No, I just thought of that now. So yeah, okay. So yeah, that was a claw shot game, I think.
Yes.
A double claw shot game where you're trying to get all the gems.
Yep, and then Minish Cap had some of that as well.
Ah, yes. Now, speaking of, real quick, these big, long kind of trading quests, Zelda games are famous for having them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Link's Awakening was the first truly famous one where you're trading the Yoshi doll for a thing, for a thing, for a thing, for a thing.
Yeah.
And bananas.
And that one kind of went, like I said, kind of went along with the story, because I don't think you could even trade some certain things until you got further along in the story. So those I don't mind doing.
It's true. Minish Cap definitely had one. I am playing Oracle of Seasons right now. Leona and I are playing it together, and for review. Certainly we'll review it probably in season 2. And I'm right in the middle of a big trading quest right now. This person's like, oh, I need a doll. You're like, okay, if I find a doll. This person says, I need a fish. Then you find the fish, and then it goes to the fish, and that person gives you a doll, which then, that's always kind of fun. And those are like side quest adjacent as well. They're side quests, but they're happening while you're going along with the main game.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about side quests in Breath of the Wild to reel it back in here.
Let's.
For me, the side quests in Breath of the Wild were very exciting to do because there was a time where when you're playing side quests in Zelda, sometimes it feels like it's pulling you away. But when I'm going into, one of the things that I like the most about Breath of the Wild, as I've spoken to, is when you go into a horse stable or town, you're talking to these people, and one of the worst things about some games is like every NPC has their one sentence to say, and there it is.
Yep.
Well, with Breath of the Wild, and many, many other games too, but certainly with Breath of the Wild, you go into these towns and you're chatting with these people, and even if there is just some side quest about a guy who has a crush on the hotel owner, or someone who's gonna, wants to go find a monster or something like that, it just, for Breath of the Wild, for me, I found the side quests, I never ever did them for the thing at the end. I always just did them because they've helped me help the world feel a little bigger, a little more full, and I really enjoyed that.
I think that's what I did as well, because when I went back and played yesterday, because I wanted to kind of refresh my brain and see if I could check any ones that I hadn't thought of and added to my list yet. And I looked at my list, and it's so many open ones still that I had not yet completed. So it was kind of the same thing where I had talked to the person and I had started kind of looking for stuff and I had explored a little bit. I just hadn't gotten to the end point, and I wasn't necessarily invested in the end point either. It was just cool to, like you said, talk to the person and get more story, more background, go to a new place, etc.
Now, I have a couple side quests here in my list of favorite side quests that definitely give you super cool things.
Okay.
And then others but in general, the side quests I found not to be a burden in Breath of the Wild. I felt that they enriched the world.
I agree.
Whereas some games, it feels like, why am I doing pogo?
You wasted my time.
I'm going on a pogo stick down a street when I'm like trying to unearth a crime syndicate. you know what I mean?
Breath of the Wild, there's just so much to do. You're never really in a hurry. Even though it says, while you're playing the main game before you actually, defeat Ganon, it's like, oh, you need to do this and Zelda needs your help. But it's like, really?
Yeah.
I could explore for months and it would be okay.
So as I was putting together my list here, I was realizing that I still have a few that I probably haven't gotten to, and I kind of want to dig back into my side quests. So I've been playing Breath of the Wild. I've started over in Master Quest mode, and I've had a lot of fun with that because it's very difficult. But part of me is kind of like, oh, maybe I want to go back into my old game and just kind of do some more side quest hopping.
I kind of want to start over myself too.
Oh,
because,
really?
Now that I've done everything, I don't know. I just want to kind of start
I tell
over
you
from
what.
the beginning with a clean map too, and just kind of find everything again.
That's been fun. Yeah, Master Quest mode is a lot of fun. I'm finding that sometimes I'm going into areas that I'm so familiar with that I'm not even bothering with the towers and stuff. You're kind of like, I'm good. I know where I am. All right. Okay, let's get to it here. Let's see. In no particular order, I have about 7 here. You have a few there?
I have a few. So do you have any from like the extra downloadable content?
So-
because I don't have any of that.
I chose to not include those for this episode.
Okay. I was just wondering.
There are some cool things, but even in our shrine episode, in episode 16 with Lizzie, I was kind of like, oops, I'm accidentally including some DLC shrines, but I think that's a little different because those shrines really shine, but I tried to keep main
Say
main
that
quests.
10 times fast.
Those shrines shine. Those shrines shine. All right. Linoleum, aluminum, linoleum. Let's
boat,
see. Why
yellow
don't
boat.
you start with one of yours? I've been kind of chatting a lot here.
Okay. I'm going to start off with one that probably everyone will disagree with and think I'm crazy, but
Cool.
it's more not because I had fun doing it, but because of the reward of the side quest itself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Fireproof Lizard Roundup, which
What the heck are you talking
was
about?
very frustrating for me to do, but it was so worth it. Okay, so you are trying to get to Death Mountain. You can't stand the heat, right? The hot temperatures. And so you come across this guy as you're making your way through the Goron mines. And he's like, hey, I'm trying to find these lizards. And if you find 10, I believe it is, I have some armor that I can give you.
Yeah, maybe I do remember this.
And so my mindset is always, I don't want to pay for this crap. I don't want to pay for these clothes. So
Yeah.
I always like to try to find the way around it and like the other way that you can get the armor. I think that's so cool that there is another way that you can get the armor. And it took me, oh gosh, I don't even want to admit how long it took me to complete this challenge, because what happens is you're looking for these lizards, and as soon as you have to creep everywhere.
Yes, because they're skittish, right? They
Yes.
get away.
So as soon as you come upon them, they will run away. And they're also a set amount, at least for a certain amount of time. Like while you're playing it, they don't just magically regenerate.
Right.
So once you catch one in a certain area, like that one's done and you've caught it
Fascinating.
and that's it. So I ran
realize.
around for a long time. And I also didn't realize for the longest time that you can pick up rocks and they would be underneath the rocks. It took me way too long to figure that out. And then once I did, they just ran away anyway. So I was like, dang it.
Yeah, how would you do that? I don't know if I've ever. I guess I have.
You have to grab it real fast.
Yeah, throw that rock and grab it real fast.
Grab it real fast. So,
Sometimes I'll get frogs that way when you're cutting grass.
yes. Yes. So it took me, so I tried it, and then after a while I got frustrated. I'm like, okay, I have to turn this game off. And then I was like, I wonder if I turn the game back on at a later time, those
my
lizards
goodness.
will regenerate. Not while you're playing, but
Playing the
after
metagame
you haven't
here.
played. Yeah. So then I turned it back on however many days later, and they were back, and I was able to complete the challenge, luckily.
Wow.
But it did take me a while. And so I had like my note for this one is it's not necessarily fun, but it is useful because then you don't have to pay any money for this armor that allows you to then explore the entire area.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not I'm going to eat something and then run around for
I don't do that too much either.
10 minutes. Although you do have to do that to hunt these lizards. That's
Yeah.
the other thing, is that I was terrified that I would run out of, elixirs or food that would let me be in that area in the first place.
Oh yeah, that's actually really interesting. That's the way. Either you get a bunch of money and you buy the armor in the town,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to work for it. And not only are you working for it by finding these lizards, on top of that, they make you have to cook some meal that allows you to be in the hot.
Withstand it. Yeah.
What do you know what that meal is?
Oh, gosh.
I'm sure it's like cold stafflina and something else.
Something like that. I honestly don't remember. I think I got some elixirs from someone. Like
think-
someone was selling them, and I grabbed like 3 of those. And
Oh.
so each one of those was like 9 minutes or
At
something.
the horse stable,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
woman
yeah.
that gives you some elixirs on the way up to Death Mountain, which I never saw the first time I played, but in my Master Quest mode, I've been treading a little more lightly, and I spoke to that person then. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I don't know if I ever really did too much cooking for the effect. I usually just went for the
Same.
armor. I played a little bit more classic Zelda that way, where it was just like, there's the armor, buy it in the shop.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't do well with like time limits and stuff like that. So ain't no one can make me go up in this cold, snowy mountains without like something to wear where I don't have to like freak out because I want to be able to take my time and explore. So that is another element of the Fireproof Lizard Roundup quest, which is that you have a time limit. And so I was running around like, oh, I'm really stressed out right now.
Fireproof Lizard Roundup. So and that gives you the chest
the flame
piece,
breaker armor.
Yeah, which part of it? Legs?
I think everything.
Head?
Because I think you only need one piece of it to be able to resist the heat.
I think it might be 2, but I could
It was
be wrong.
enough where I didn't need anything else.
Yeah,
so
right.
if it wasn't a complete set, I believe it was at least like the jacket.
Sure. Man, it's so weird with that those rubber like hoses that it has for arms.
Yeah.
I went over to Hatno Village and colored it green almost immediately just so it was a little less obnoxious.
Oh my gosh.
My Link's brown right now. I went all brown. I'm going like real kind of like realistic, like dirty brown clothes right now for my second playthrough. First playthrough, Link was yellow. He had like purple. It was like all very expressive.
You're very fashion oriented. And
I color all my clothes.
I didn't do that at all.
I tried different combinations, which is funny. Anyway.
Is that like a side quest in and of itself? Finding dyes?
The dye guy over in Hetno Village is just... So I went through a thing where I wanted my Link to look as much like Link as possible.
Fair.
So my first playthrough, every time I'd get new armor, if it was a shirt or a hat, I'd go make it green immediately. And then if it was pants, I would go make it white immediately.
Okay.
And it was okay.
That's fine.
And then, of course, everybody makes their hood black, I think, Some people go yellow with it.
I just tried to wear the most ridiculous things I could find.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's like a skeleton suit.
Yep.
I think you can get at one point.
Through a side quest.
And so I would wear that a lot and just look as ridiculous as possible, or some weird helmet or mask. Yeah.
That's funny.
That was me.
These days I run around with the Majora's Mask a lot now that I got it, which is handy. And actually there's a few other headpieces that I wear that will speak to that are from some of my side quests. But I actually think I'm going to skip down my list here and go to the side quest Flown the Coop because it's also a bit of a reference to original Zelda games.
Yes.
And it's also collecting things. So as you were speaking, I was like, oh, okay, that might be the right one to talk about. Flown the Coop. Anybody who's ever played a Zelda game already can guess what this is. Every single time you go to Kakariko Village, but I actually noticed, I think in Breath of the Wild, it's not Kakariko. I think it's Kariko. If you look at the spelling, I could be wrong, but I think so, yeah. And they always tweak it just a little bit. We did get a listener feedback that I sometimes tend to say Kakariko. Instead of Kakariko.
I'm sure I say everything wrong.
So. Kakariko. It's hard. It
is what it is.
And it's such tongue twisters. But anyway, and actually when you start, and then it's Kakiri 4, I don't know, it gets nuts. Anyway, Flown the Coop.
It gets Deku nuts. Sorry.
Flown the Coop over at Kariko Village. Over at the village that Impa lives in.
Yes.
Did you play that one?
I did. It took me, I didn't do it right away because I was like, meh.
Like, we know what this is.
Yes. But interestingly enough, my fiance, Bill, that was when he started playing the game. That was the first side quest he did, I'm pretty sure. And he immediately did that one. He's like, yeah, I'm going to find these chickens.
Well, I think like back in the Ocarina days, I was very excited to do that side quest.
And he hadn't played any other, this is his first Zelda game. So he was not jaded by all the chicken quests.
Well, maybe that's what it is. It's like maybe he had what you and I felt with Ocarina when he got that side quest. He was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll find the chickens, the cuckoos. This one is a little bit more difficult than the Ocarina one. Ocarina gets clever with having a couple chickens hidden up in places and you use them to fly down.
Yep.
But this one gets tricky. There's the classic chicken on a roof.
Always.
And then I think there's a chicken that's almost outside of the space that you would expect them to be. I think there's a chicken up by the shrine, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there are several ways to leave the village, and I would always get lost, and there were definitely chickens on the outskirts of town. Yeah,
it's true. So you find them, you get them in there, fine, it happens, Flown the Coop. I don't actually remember what you get from it, but I just remember doing... I have to say, many of my quests here, I don't actually remember like the reward. It's more the experience of doing it that I recall. That's what I picked. It was like, oh, what were my emotions when I played this side quest? Because again, our title of our episode is favorite side quests, maybe not like best or most rewarding.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be for season 5.
That was emotionally rewarding.
Season 5, it's going to be highest value items quests in Link to the Past. Because we're going to have to get so specific.
Yes. I'm trying to look for the reward.
It's fine.
On the interwebs right now.
It's fine. Let's see. It's
a purple rupee.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like the rupees.
Ooh, money.
So what was the main way that you would make money in Breath of the Wild? I know what it was for me.
Selling, destroying rocks and getting jewels and then selling those.
That's 100% what I did as well. I didn't even really care about getting the jewel rewards from characters. I would just smash all the rocks as I would run around, and then when you get to a store, you sell.
Yep.
You save. I'd always save a couple, especially the higher end ones, because you might need them to, like, you need those diamonds to fix your weapons sometimes and stuff like that. Yeah. But for the most part, and actually sometimes odd monster parts sell pretty well too. But anyway. But every time it would rain, I'd run to a traveling merchant and I'd just sell. And then
take all my crap.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll pick another one here because I have a few.
You have more than I do.
Did you do the Ganon's horse side quest yet? The giant horse.
You told me about that one.
Did I really?
Is that Hunt for the Giant Horse?
I believe so.
Okay.
Do you have it right there?
Yes.
Oh, let's talk about it. I see it in your notes.
Yeah. I like this one because it was more than just pull this chest out of the water.
Sure.
Or give me something.
Yeah,
like a really simple one. There was much more to this one, and I like those meaty side quests that have more to it.
My favorite side quest intros are when the person is a little vague about what you're supposed to do. They speak about a giant horse that roams the land. So now you're like, I have to keep an eye out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like, Mary Jo didn't give me 5 mushrooms, you know what I mean? You're like, all right, I gotta go find Mary Jo or whatever. That never happens, but you see where I'm going with this?
10 crickets.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a very exciting one. I remember finding out about this side quest from a character, and then 20 hours later, I mean, actually perhaps 100 hours later, actually executing on it. But this mystery and this lore of the giant horse followed me through my narrative the whole time once I spoke to this person over by the archery range, I believe, on your way to Hatno Village.
Yep. You were very excited to tell me about this, I remember. But I think before our podcast even
like
started.
Off air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we started recording any episodes, you were like, Ganon's horse.
I probably had found it around that time. So I'll let you, I kind of interrupted you there. Let's speak a little bit more about setting this up.
So yeah, first you have to find where the horse is, because they give you kind of vague directions. And I remember wandering around for a while, like not exactly knowing where to go.
Yeah, it's one of those like, it has been spotted northeast of here.
Right. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just head up in that direction.
I love it because it forces you to like climb a mountain, look around. You're like,
I know.
would a horse be in a valley? Where would a horse be? Like, I love that.
So you got to find it. And then there are also Lionels on the way. At least the way that I went.
It depends on your experience.
Yes.
Because I had the opposite. I can't wait to talk about it. So yeah, so you, obviously there's a bit of a valley. If you go the quote unquote right way, or if you go the way that perhaps it was intended, if you go north, and then you naturally follow this valley with very steep walls, I think there's like 2 Lionels.
There's 2 Lionels, yes. I think I beat both of them. I did at least one, but yeah, and those were not easy, especially for where like my character was in the moment that I came upon this side quest. I was like, I'm not prepared for this.
Lionels are no joke for much of the game.
But eventually I was able to defeat them. So first you have to find the place. Then you potentially have to beat 2 pretty tough enemies, and then you have to find the horse, and then is where I got stuck, is actually taming the dang thing, because I did not have enough
more stamina. So I think I found Ganon's horse. They never technically call it Ganon's horse, but it's clearly Ganon's horse in my opinion. I think I found it when my stamina was full, so taming it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
But so did you feel that you were going in the appropriate direction when you were going up this valley? In retrospect, we can look at it and go, oh, okay, that's the path they kind of want you to take. Or were you just running around, walking around? You're like, oh my gosh, a Lionel. Oh my gosh, another Lionel. And then it's like, whoa.
Probably more like that. That sounds like me when I'm playing the game too. And then I feel like I remember going up after that and then seeing them down below. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then you just float down and find it. Because there's a different. I'm trying not to confuse it with another horse.
The white one?
Yes.
That's a cool one too. I've not found the white horse yet.
Oh, I did. I
want to hear about it in just a moment.
Okay.
But actually, maybe we'll do Ganon's horse, white horse, and we'll go to break.
Okay, cool.
This is so much more fun than I thought this episode was going to be. I was looking forward to it, but this is a blast.
Yeah.
You have a second page of notes. Great.
Oh, barely.
No, it's fine.
That was just a question.
Oh, I see. So Ganon's horse. Could I tell you about my experience?
No.
Perfect. Excellent. Very good. We'll see you guys. See you in 30 seconds. So I had heard about, some of the locals talked about the giant horse, and I honestly didn't know if that meant something I'd be riding. I thought there's a lot of giant objects in Breath of the Wild. There's a massive sword. There's these massive goddesses. You'll find these leviathans. There's other things. There are many times, or there's even massive trees for no reason, like dead tree trunks that are the size of skyscrapers, and you have no idea why they're there. And again, that all feeds the lore, and I find that very exciting.
Giant flowers that fairies live in.
That's true. I like passive lore world building. And like the windows in Wind Waker when you finally get down, like this kind of like
Easter eggs, sort of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So I'm hearing about the giant horse. I probably spent maybe an hour kind of thinking like, ooh, maybe I'll go to the north or this or that. And I think you actually come across some bokoblins on horses. And I think I probably turned around, whatever, because I actually found that side quest very early in the game. Okay. Coming back from Hatno Village the first time. So I probably had just gotten like the Sheikah Slate Plus and all that stuff. And I'm coming back and I thought, I'll go look at that area over there. And I battled the bokoblins and the moblins. And so I wasn't ready for that area. I wasn't ready to go north, you could say, or west or east, or north or east or whatever it is. Anyway, so I play the rest of the game.
Oh my gosh.
I defeat all the beasts. I technically defeat Ganon, even though you never actually defeat Ganon, because when you do that, the game ends.
Yep.
And I built up all my stamina and I was kind of working on stuff. And one day I was just bumming around in the area and I almost said skylofting. That's just paragliding around. I was just paragliding around the world and looking around. Yep. I was up on some big tall mountain. I'm looking around and I'm just kind of seeing like, oh, there's the archery range. And again, I had a lot of stamina. So I was kind of just cruising, honestly, up there in the sky. Just looking around and seeing what else I hadn't seen. Because, also, I run the Expansion Pass 1 DLC, which gives you the ability to see where you've been. It draws that blue line for you.
Oh yeah.
Which is really nice.
Show me that, yeah.
I will admit that is super handy because then you can kind of look at the spots, the cold spots that you haven't been. You're like, oh, I don't have squiggles over there. I'm going to go there. That would be
useful, yeah.
Super useful. Again, maybe that would have been nice to be in the main game.
Yeah.
But as DLC, it's definitely part of the value.
Cool.
Okay, so I am just looking down. I'm like, oh, there's some weird big dead trees in that valley. That's cool. And Zelda does a pretty good job of masking pop in, but sometimes the characters pop in just a little bit.
Oh,
late.
sure. It's like,
all of a sudden I see some horses.
Oh, horses.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. Another little batch of horses, which becomes a very regular thing that you see in this game. Cool. Little batch of oh my God! I saw a massive blob of a horse. I was like, is that right? What is that?
Big blob horse.
I'm still up in the sky, flying around, like looking down, and I'm seeing this big, huge horse. And I think it might have even popped in after the herd of horses, because I wonder if the horse herds, they might have some joint AI. By the way, I think they have their own AI, but I think there's like a blob AI that runs the group of them.
Sure.
If you're trying to look at the way the stuff was coded. So the horse must have, the giant horse wasn't part of that AI. It was popping in at a different rate. And I was like, what is that? Wait, is that the big horse? Is that the giant? What is this? So I fall down. I get down there and this massive horse is there.
I wish you had landed directly onto the horse. What
kind
of action star are you?
Well, my memory is such that I did, but I don't know. It was a long time ago. And I 100% did. I'm not making this up. I remember being like right above it. And I was like, I think I can do this. I can do this.
Sure. Now he lands directly on top of the horse.
Yeah. Well, I never said I didn't. Landed right on the horse, stamina'd it out. And then I was like, cool. I got the big horse. And I was like, well, okay, geez Louise, where's the nearest stable? Go to the map. Saw that it was, the one that's near the archery range there. And I'm like, well, how do I get out of here? So I entered from the back, you could say. I was coming off a mountain, and I was like, oh, I guess I can't get the horse up these steep walls. I guess I'll take the long cut here around the archery village and all that stuff, and I'll go register this horse because I'm really excited to have this super big horse. And it has no speed. It's a very slow horse.
I heard that, yeah.
And it's an incredibly strong horse. It has like 5 power or something like that, which is crazy.
So you never came upon the Lionels at all? Or
well, herein lies the end of my story. So I'm on big old horse, hanging onto its mane, Ganon horse, trying to tame it. It tames, I don't know. That once you tame it, I mean, it gets love pretty quickly. That horse needs a lot of love. And I'm riding it, and I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just go through like this valley. And I'm like, what's that in front of me? Oh, no, it's a Lionel. And this horse is like slow. It's not necessarily fast enough to outrun a Lionel. So I think that's the whole trick too. Because a normal horse, you can kind of be like, peace, Lionel, and just go for it. You know what I mean? So I'm on this massive slow horse. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I go around? I can't go around these things. I'm just trying to gallop as fast as I can. My Gannon horse is doing the, you know, like it's getting freaked out because I'm asking it to do too much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful.
Do better.
It actually got like harder once I got the horse for me to try to get it back past the Lionels.
That's what I read when I was like kind of going over these on the interwebs the other day. Because I remembered this side quest and I was going to bring it up specifically. And they talked about that exactly, how that is maybe not the easiest way to go about it.
And so then the Lionels are shooting the arrows up into the air. They're raining down on me. I'm dodging like it's a volcano in Ocarinaville or in Ocarina. And like, it's like these Lionels are going crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got past that Lionel thing. I get why they put that Lionel there. Okay, well, let's get to the stable. Another Lionel.
Surprise.
Like, oh my God. So I made it, but it was super stressful. And then by the time I got to the bokoblins on the horses, I just plowed them over with my super strong horse. Because I was like, I'm over this. It's time to go register this thing.
So what did you name it?
I named it Demise. Just in, you know, to reference Demise from, because I felt like the main kind of had that. And then I've actually now I took it over to the horse stable near the Great Plateau and I gave it the red haircut. And then I gave it some pretty cool armor to make it look
nice.
Very Ganon-esque.
I would have named, if I had tamed it, which to this day I haven't, although I have more stamina now, so I should try and go back. I would have named it a Nope, which is Epona backwards.
Nope. Very good. Very good.
Nope.
Yep. So that was a lot of fun finding that horse. It was fun to accidentally find it. The myth, the legend of the giant horse followed me through the entire game. I finally found it. Once I found it, things got harder, not easier. A lot of times with these side quests, you're ramping up to something. You're doing a gauntlet of bad guys and then getting to the reward. This time I accidentally, quote unquote, found the reward and then it got difficult. It was super cool.
So... But the enemies regenerate, right? So, like, if I went back to get the horse now, even though I beat the Lionels before, they'd be back, right?
Have you had a blood moon? I'm sure you have since then.
Oh, yeah.
Then they've regenerated, yeah.
Oh, goody.
The blood moon rises.
The blood moon. Whenever that came up, I'd be like, nope, going back into a shrine. Nope.
Oh, I see.
You just kind of hang out there for
Fair
a
enough.
while because you know no enemies will be right there.
I think we should take a break. And then come back. I would like to speak about many quests. I'd like to speak about one that lies underneath Hyrule Castle. I'd like to talk about one that helps you with electricity. I have a cool heroine quest I'd like to talk about.
And I have my very favorite one.
Ooh, all right. So we're going to go to break and we're going to come back and really push through some of these.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, David Geisler here, and I am very excited to share that we have just launched our Patreon page for Another Zelda podcast. Patreon is a great way for creators to grow their content, and we're really looking forward to using this space as a way to say thank you to our listeners. We'd love to have your support, and we've put together some rewards that we're pretty excited about. Things like additional uncut bonus content, custom wallpapers, and of course, early access to all of our episodes. So if you like, after the show, head on over to our page at patreon.com/Another Zelda podcast. You can also find a link to the page in our show notes. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Leona Liu.
And I'm Jeff Norman.
And we're the hosts of a new show called the T-Fix Podcast.
Now we love drinking tea.
And we love talking about drinking that tea.
So we decided that we should make a show about drinking tea.
And so we did, the T-Fix Podcast.
Now, in this show we talk about some of our favorite teas, flavors, and cultivars.
We do deep dives on all the different types of teas and many ways to make and store tea.
Each recording, we enjoy a new tea from our personal stash.
And we try not to get too tea drunk in the process.
A new episode comes out every other Thursday.
And you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and YouTube.
You can also find us on Instagram at The T-Fix.
All right, everyone. We'll see you there.
All right, we are back from the break. Kate, we are talking about some of our favorite side quests, and I think let's just keep going.
Cool. Sounds good.
As I said 20 minutes ago, this is significantly more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Since we don't have to make a big discussion of it, but since we were just talking about the hunt for the giant horse, we can talk about the white horse since we kind of mentioned that. There's not much that I have to say other than I was able to find it, but I wasn't able to like catch it. It kept running around, and then at one point it just like disappeared, and I could not find it again.
I have not found the white horse.
See it at least.
Could you please tell me what it was like for you to find it?
Magical.
I guess we're doing the old school thing where instead of like sourcing the internet, we're talking about it around the proverbial water cooler right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go to find the white horse?
So I'm looking at the description of the quest right now. It looks like it is because I don't remember place names, honestly.
You hear about it kind of in the northern regions.
Yeah, so in this I'm going to mispronounce everything that I look at. Safua Hill area. It's like a kind of, I remember kind of like grassy knolls and a lot of hills. And that's why I lost it, is because like it may have, run over the edge of the cliff, but not really like in the game. It was just like choop and then disappeared.
Yeah, okay.
Or I probably ran off the edge of the cliff knowing how I play Breath of the Wild. Not going to lie, it was probably me. But yeah, so I did not get a chance to register or anything, but I guess you get a royal saddle and bridle.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Once you register it. But yeah, I did find it. I didn't do a lot of horse stuff other than that. Like the wild horses, I was kind of like, whatever. I honestly did not ride a horse for the majority of the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I teleported a lot.
Oh.
And then I just ran and climbed and flew around a lot.
Yeah, I horse all the time, but I think
I horse all the time.
I ride horses all the time.
I want a shirt that says I horse all the time.
I just verbed horse. I think that's because I have a lot of fun. I'm weird. I have a lot of fun not teleporting in Zelda. And so I love to really cross the lands.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And so I use the horse for that. But anyway,
let's you have a bunch more, right? And I have like one more and then a hypothetical or rhetorical question.
Did you find our featured artwork for this episode? Have you found the Hylian Shield? By the way, let's talk about Hylian. I think it might be Hylian. We're getting a lot of feedback about that.
Well, then I would be right, which is not surprising.
You said Hylian in a couple episodes ago. Maybe it was the Three Goddesses episode.
That is the big war in terms of.
We had listener feedback saying that even he always thought, he or she, but I believe it was a he, said that they thought it was pronounced like Jillian. Mm-hmm. But if you technically listen to, this commenter pointed out, if you technically listen to the voice acting in Breath of the Wild, they say Hylian, don't they?
Probably.
So the Hylian
I take
Shield.
the word for it.
Did you find the Hylian Shield?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool and it's so worth it.
Tell me about it.
So first of all, the Hylian Shield's amazing. Once you do get it, it doesn't get destroyed.
Oh yeah, then I definitely didn't find it because all mine broke.
Oh, you need to go get it, and this is why.
Okay.
The Hylian Shield is such a cool little side quest. I don't remember how you learn about it. It might just be one of those things where you read about it in a book in a horse stable, and there's like that legend of a, you know what I mean? That's a lot of the stuff works that way. Maybe some NPCs tell you about it. I honestly don't remember. However, what happens is you learn that the Hylian Shield it's essentially, maybe this is kind of spoilery, but I think we just kind of do that in this show. We assume people have played these things. It is buried down in the prison underneath Hyrule Castle.
Oh, okay.
Now, you can get to the prison by going into Hyrule Castle and digging down and getting into these catacombs and stuff like that. However, there is a way to actually sneak into the prisons from a little hole in the wall.
I read about that.
Oh, really?
I did read about that.
So you can technically go get the Hylian Shield at a very low level, like not a lot of hearts. Now, if you're very careful.
Well, that would have been handy.
Right. So that's why I feel like everyone should go get the Hylian Shield as soon as possible. Because yes, it is a bit of a challenge. You technically have to battle a skull version of what's the Cyclops, the big Cyclops guys? Modolgos are the fish swimmer, the tremor guys.
I don't know.
I don't remember their names.
I know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
though.
the Cyclops pig things.
Cyclops pig thing. That is what it's called. That's the official name for it.
Pretty sure.
Yep.
I always felt like they kind of always felt like Ganon in Link's Adventures, Link 2, Zelda 2, Link's Adventures. But I think that's just kind of a coincidence. So
it's the pig thing.
So you can technically, at a pretty low level, get in to Hyrule Castle. You have to kind of paraglide across the moat, land in a little area. You go inside a little catacomb. You come out. You're back outside. The whole time. What's cool about it is by doing this, the music changes to that really scary Hyrule Castle music. You're like in end game emotions almost by going to the castle. It's scary, and it's the coolest thing about the Hylian Shield side quest, in my opinion, is that yes, you do have to battle things, but you feel like you're being stealthy. You're not being stealthy in that it's not like guards walking through a garden and you have to make sure you're not seen.
Right.
It's none of that. But you're feeling like you're sneaking around in the dirty underbellies of this castle.
I'm not ready to be here yet.
You shouldn't be there yet. If you accidentally go up the wrong staircase, game over, man. Game over. And but eventually you go into you do have to bomb a couple walls. If you look carefully, you can tell that you should bomb these places. And you battle a skull version of that Cyclops, which for me wasn't that hard. I don't remember if I might have Mighty Banana'd it. Or Mighty Simmer Fruited it.
Okay.
I might have cooked some Mighty Simmered Fruit. The only thing I ever cook in Breath of the Wild, Mighty Simmered Fruit. And I might have used that to battle this boss. But then you get the Hylian Shield and it does the slow ga 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 whenever you get like a really cool item.
I wonder if I can't remember because I'm reading about how else you can get it now. Or rather, if you lose it.
So you're talking about Tarrey Town.
Yes.
Which I will speak about in just a moment.
Yeah, and I talked to the person that apparently can sell it to you, and he did not have one. So maybe I do.
There it is. So I'm sure this is what it is. So the Hylian Shield, I have to get used to saying it this other way now. The Hylian Shield is under the castle. It's the only place you can get it. It doesn't get destroyed, but you can lose it. For example,
maybe I just never got it.
I think you've never gotten it yet. And if you talk to the Tarrey Town guy, he doesn't have it yet.
Oh, yeah. Because you
has
have to go to the... Okay.
Exactly. So this is a way... Tarrey Town is really cool because it's a way to get the Hylian Shield back if you did lose it. I lost it once. My little niece, who is wonderful and adorable, was playing my game file for just a few moments one day. And she was running around some horse stable, and it was... lightning out. It was raining and lightning out. I'm a little tongue-tied today. A little tongue-tied. And she got hit with some electric arrows by some bokoblins on horses. And unbeknownst to me, dropped her shield, dropped the sword. Oh, she was running around for another 10 minutes. You. And then, she had to leave or whatever. And I was like, okay, file save. Get back in a couple days later. I'm like, where the heck's my Hylian Shield? What,
oh, no.
What's going on? And I was like, oh my gosh, my niece got electrocuted. Oh my gosh. So I went back to that area, and of course it wasn't there.
Right.
Some of these things stay for a while, but it wasn't there. And so then I hadn't yet run the Tarrey Town side quest. So I went ahead and did that. And I actually have Tarrey Town here in my favorite side quests because I'd like to talk about it. And ultimately, yes, by the time you complete the Tarrey Town side quest, there's a gentleman who will sell you a Hylian Shield back for kind of a lot of money, but if you've been collecting a lot of rocks and you're towards endgame, it's not too much money.
Right.
Hylian Shield.
Cool. I'm going to have to check once I turn that game back on.
It is
and
100%
go get it.
Worth getting the Hylian Shield.
Cool.
And just as a starting point, if you don't want to walk through search it, if you get to the front kind of bridge or whatever, moat cross, just a little to the left of the moat and down by the water, you'll see an area where you can land. I tell you to start there, and you can do it by avoiding the flying robots. I forgot the names. Guardians. Pardon me.
Because I'm confused as to how I didn't find it because I explored that castle. I really did. I ran around because I was like, this is cool. I'm going to go down every staircase and move everything that you could move. And
it's so cool. I really like Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild. Well, if you do find yourself down in the prison, keep an eye out. You might have to bomb 2 walls. So definitely keep an eye out for rubble.
Are they
stuff like that.
secret walls that you wouldn't know that you could bomb them?
I think one's in the back of a cell. Stuff like that.
I hate that. It has to look different.
Well, anyway, let's talk a little bit about Tarrey Town then.
Yes, that is my very favorite side quest from the ground up.
I can't even believe it. I can't believe you said that.
You hate it?
I was literally going to say I hate this side quest. But it gives you such a rewarding narrative that I felt like we should include it.
There were times when I was like, if you send me out to get one more bundle of wood, I will end you.
This is why I didn't like this quest. I didn't like it at all. I only did it because I knew that there were some, not endgame things, but there was some to get the Hylian Shield. So tell me about it.
Okay. So the reason why it's my favorite, first of all, I love the location. I stumbled upon it. Yes. I was like, what is this circular peninsula in the middle of nowhere. So
Very
I flew
magical.
down there,
Yeah.
and then that music from that place gets stuck in my head in the best kind of way. Like I love the music, which always changes once you go down there. It's probably my favorite music in the game. Is the Tarrey Town.
There's Tarrey Town music. I need to listen.
Love it. So it's just kind of enjoyable to run around. And at first, getting the bundles of wood is not that hard because you can just honestly chop down the trees that are there anyway.
Oh,
and then
right.
you just get wood from.
And then eventually you
like,
just
sorry, chopping down all your trees.
paraglide off that wacky island
Yep.
down into the forest there, the autumn forest.
Yep. So yeah, towards the end when you need like 50 bundles of wood, then that's what I was doing last night. Actually, was finishing the side quest because I hadn't finished it yet, and I was like kind of over the whole bundles of wood thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just ran around and bombed a bunch of trees, so that I didn't break my weapons because I
You were
did
bombing trees.
Yeah, because otherwise I would break all my
Fair enough.
swords and whatever can cut a tree, axes.
Yeah, I just brought a bunch of axes with me. But
I broke all those. So it took me
I used
a little longer. But
tree sticks.
use the tree to kill the tree. And then you go back, I think, so there are 10 parts of this side quest, which is bonkers.
Yeah.
But as annoying as the wood gathering part was, I really liked like going back to places I had already been or hadn't been before, and finding the people that you have to recruit. With the names that end in SON.
Yeah.
That was cool. I liked kind of, because it gave me a chance to kind of run around places and maybe start other side quests too, or find other things that I hadn't found yet in the process. So
Yeah.
once I found everyone, brought them back, and then
let me interject. There were moments where they'd say, like, find someone with the last name that ends with son.
Yeah.
And I would kind of remember a character from the Rito village or something like that. I'm like, I think that was that. I'm going to go talk to that guy.
and they were never like impossible to find. Like the Zora one had me running around for a little bit to try to find the right person.
Yeah, I think I kind of did too. Oh, like in Rito village, it was very obvious. That bird was complaining about wanting to make his own store and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then should we talk about like what the last part of it? Okay. So
That's the reason I included it, is that I think it's the most extensive like cut scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
It gives you the biggest reward from like building a side narrative. So I respect it for that.
yeah, so it was the wedding of the two characters, and it was just so cute. And I was so glad that I had finished the side quest last night, because otherwise I wouldn't have known that was the end of it. And I love the guy that's throwing glitter in the air, and it's adorable. And then what's funny, you were talking about selling jewels to the merchants or whatever. So what's funny about this one is they give you two or three diamonds is your reward for completing the quest, and they're like, oh, we don't even need these. And then I just sold them back to him to get the money. I was like, yeah, you say you don't need these, but I know that you will buy them because you are also a merchant. So here you go. These are back for you. Give me money.
That's a funny little hack. That's
like, well, I don't
interesting.
need these either, but I want your money.
Too funny. And that's like a fully produced. There's a couple kind of fully produced cutscenes. They're all in game, of course.
Yeah.
But I was impressed. I remember kind of thinking, I legitimately was like, oh, this is sweet, when those two were getting married.
I know.
You know?
She has to name her kid something that ends in son.
And then afterwards, I don't think I've really used the shops too much in Tarrey Town. I just went back to get the Hylian Shield.
Yeah. I liked exploring a little bit every time I went back to see what was new, what was newly built. There was another side quest that...
Oh, there's the looking through the window side quest.
Yeah, which I started kind of on accident.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, oops, I grabbed another quest there. And I'm not exactly sure how to finish that one, so I'm going to have to work on
I
that
did
one.
finish
to,
it, and I don't recall.
You have to make or find a cake.
Oh, I do think you have to cook it.
Yeah. So I'll have to figure that out. I probably have already cooked a cake before. But anyway, and I don't know. I liked whenever you found the characters that you had to send back to Tarrey Town, the music, the theme would play as they're walking off in the distance. You're like, oh, I don't know. I just really like that music. So that was
a very produced side quest in many ways. Huh? A lot of like dynamic camera angles and stuff where they're it's not just happening inside the normal game camera.
Yeah.
Huh. That's cool. I want to talk really quick about 8th Heroine.
Okay.
Did you find the 7 heroines over there in the Gerudo Desert?
Oh,
I think you do that for a shrine.
Yes. I did not finish that quest, though, I don't think.
Well, that's technically a shrine quest in that you have to get the little metal balls and put them into
Oh,
the
yeah.
hands
Yeah,
of
yeah. Okay, I did that one.
the 7 heroines. But eventually you speak to some characters that speak about a hidden 8th heroine, and they want you to take a picture of this 8th heroine. And
I think I remember that too.
Immediately started scouring the desert because I think I didn't pick up on the fact that they said that it's actually up in the snow regions that are a little bit, I guess, technically northeast of the desert.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I looked for the 8th heroine for a while. I was going around on the mountaintops and I found the massive sword of the 8th heroine up on a mountain.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, this is it. It's going to be buried in, ruins. It's just cool. You feel like Indiana Jones or something. You're going to look for ruins. And there was a Lionel at this big sword. And I was trying to take pictures. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh no. Went back. It wasn't it. That wasn't the photo. I was like, what am I doing? What did I get wrong? Okay, well, I got to find this heroine. Okay. Dropped the side quest, went and played the game for another 10 hours. 3 months later, I'm back in the snowy area. It was very much like the Gannon-Horse thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm flying off a mountain, and I look down, and I see this kind of like weird part of the mountain. And I look a little closer, and I'm like, that's a face. Oh my gosh, whoa. And I found the 8th heroine just from flying around and looking around. And it was cool. It was like, it felt very The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the temple they go in at the end with these massive sculptures in the side of the rock face. And there is the 8th heroine, and she's tucked into this little spot. And I think they did a really good job aesthetically of having the statue still look like a statue, but it also blended in with the rocks around.
Ooh.
And so there I was flying around this massive statue, and I found it, and I landed on a little cliff on the side. I took a picture of it, and that was fun. So that's just a quick one I want to talk about.
Yeah, I think I got to the point where they wanted me to take the picture, and then I just never found it.
Keep looking around. It's cool. And it's one of those, another thing that's neat about it is that it's not one of these side quests where you can just take your Sheikah slate and map the little locator to like zap shrooms, and then it beeps every time you're near a zap shroom.
Right.
Like you can't lock onto this thing. Oh, I remember like looking at the map, zooming in on my Sheikah map and trying to see, because you can, the map is very interesting, and actually that might speak to my next side quest. You can see where things are on the map when you zoom in. You can see where bad guy skulls are, and you can kind of see like rock faces and
dinosaur-ish bones and stuff like that. So
that's the Leviathans are what I want to talk about next. And so I was trying to find 8th heroine, and actually after I found her or it, you can kind of spot it on the map a little bit, but it's cool. It's worth looking for. And I guess if I could give you a little recommendation, it's on the far side of the mountain. You could almost say that the heroine faces away from the desert, if I remember correctly.
And it looks like you get these sand boots for taking that picture.
Oh, yeah.
From what I'm looking at.
And those sand boots are super helpful.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
You run normal speed in the sand.
I wouldn't be wandering in the desert.
There's a whole weird side quest there with a super creepy guy outside Gerudo Village or Gerudo Town, whatever they call it in Breath of the Wild. And he's like trying to date one of the girls. He's like super creepy.
Is he the one that's like sitting outside just like, I'm watching them?
Yes. And he doesn't talk to you unless you dress up in girl clothes. And then when you dress up in girl clothes, he thinks you're flirting with him. It's not a cool side quest. I was very uncomfortable.
That one is not on the list.
I didn't like it. At all. But he is the way to, if you already have the snow boots, he trades you the snow boots for sand boots and then trades back. And then you think you lose your snow boots. But eventually, you get both, and it's nice. Because then what you can do is when you're in the cold regions, you wear your snow boots, but then you still have to wear like cold protective headdress or cold protective body armor.
Gotcha.
And I had a lot of fun in the Gerudo Town buying the headdresses for Link or the earrings so that he doesn't have to wear these wacky helmets. So like when I go to the volcano now, Elden region, I'll just put on those volcano earrings, the heat seeker vest, I guess, and then normal pants or something. Or I'll put on like the hot pants and then...
hot pants.
Words are not coming out right today.
Oh my.
Leviathans.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. Have you found them?
I think I just like stumbled upon one, but it wasn't involved in a quest of any kind.
That's the coolest thing about this quest, in my opinion, is that you actually oftentimes find some of the Leviathans without knowing what they are yet.
Yeah. That's what happened to me.
Massive, almost whale-esque skeletons.
Yeah. A whale dinosaur.
There's a whole idea that one of them's the windfish, that one of them's, the jabu jabu and stuff like that. And there might be some truth to that, actually. I did see some of the skeletons, and for a while you're like, wow, this is amazing. Or they're just skeletons.
They're just there. Yeah.
They're just there. Because like that dragon area,
happens.
the dragon boneyard is one of those where you're just kind of like, this is just here.
Yep.
So you talk to some fellas over by one of the horse stables, and they talk about the Leviathans, and one believes that they're in a snowy region, one believes they're in a hot region, and one believes they're in a desert region. You're like, oh, okay, I know how to do this. We've seen this kind of side quest before. But you go find I found the ones in the volcano area first, up in the northern region.
Yep.
And how about you? Have you...
Same. Well, I think I've only found the one.
Oh, yeah?
In the volcano.
So not the desert Leviathan yet.
I don't think so.
Have you found the fairy in the Gerudo Desert yet?
I don't think so.
When you find that fairy, the one that gives you that's the final one where you have to give her like 10,000 gems or whatever.
No, I definitely have not
Rupees.
found her.
Maybe I think it is something like 10,000.
$1 million.
Her base is underneath the Leviathan bones. And so that's really cool too. So anyway, I found those two. You take the pictures, you bring them back, and I was like, the snow Leviathan. I was looking everywhere for this thing. It is so cool. It's technically the Snow Leviathan gets revealed through a shrine quest, a very, very cool and involved shrine quest where you're rolling big snowballs and you're breaking doors down. But anyway, I was scouring. So the thing about when you're in a snowland, the fog level gets tight a lot. So it's very hard to really explore snowy areas in Breath of the Wild, and I think by design. You know, you're up on a snowy mountain. If you're on a normal grassland, you can look for miles and look at things and say, oh, I'm going to go over there. When you're in an actual snowstorm, sometimes it clears up in wintry areas, but a lot of times it's really murky and cloudy.
And it all looks the same kind of anyway.
It really does. And so it's easy to get lost, just like maybe being in a real snowstorm, and you're looking around. So you have to you walk slow and you walk very deliberately when you're looking for something in the snow areas. So I kept thinking, I got to find these bones. Well, finally, this shrine quest happens and these doors get busted out, if I remember correctly, and a cavern, a beautiful, glistening, glowing cavern gets revealed. And there's a shrine way deep down inside it. And then you start to notice that this cavern isn't just a cavern. And you look up and there are these epic, majestic, like rib cage of this Leviathan creature that is inside this cave. And I was so excited to find it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's almost emotional to find because you're just like, this is magical, this space. Cool. And so I took the picture, brought it back, and that was cool. So the Leviathans for me were a favorite side quest because of the idea that you learn about the side. You very likely learn about the side quest once you've already found the content.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Well, I have lots of stuff to look for. Goodness.
Going to be good times. And I kind of want to do a quick shout out to the Thunder Helm, where you actually have to complete in Gerudo Town. You have to complete many other side quests that end up being kind of fun. There's a person who's polluting the water system. There's a character that needs to grow a garden. You have to go help a guard out in the desert. Some of them are a little annoying and some of them are quite creative, like this. There's one where if you go up into the top of the town, this person is eating fruits and she's just throwing the garbage into the river, and then you have to track the fruit along the river to see where it's polluting things. It's really cool.
So I got to that side quest and they're like, you have to do all of these things to get this thing, and I was like, not worth it, don't care, bye-bye.
So the Thunder Helm protects you from lightning and all electricity and lightning, so you can get struck by lightning and still be safe with the Thunder Helm.
I'll risk it.
Fair enough. It was a fun one to do for me. I really enjoyed it. So I think that's almost the end of my list. So I've been saving your kind of super favorite here.
No, the ground up was my super favorite.
Tarrey Town?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was my super favorite.
All right.
So, but I do.
Did you build a house?
Yes, but I didn't furnish it.
I've half furnished it. I get really bored by that stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care that much.
I think what it is for me is I really do enjoy SimCity games or The Sims or Roller Coaster Tycoon. And so when these kinds of things happen in games like Zelda, it's like sim game light.
Right.
A little bit. And I'm like, oh, cool. I just actually talked to a character and now there's another place to put a helm there's a few things like I did put weapon mounts up, which I don't normally do in these games.
I did that too.
But I kind of took like, oh, here's the special trident that I got from this character. I guess I'll put that up there. I don't really want to keep that in my inventory. I want to keep it, but I don't want to keep it in my inventory. That kind of stuff. Put some of my, masks up there, some of my monster masks and stuff. But it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I do have my hypothetical question, or my question that I had written down. Do you think the memories are a side quest? Finding the memories.
I think that they might technically be a main quest.
They technically are, I guess. But But are they like?
Well,
do
you receive
need-
end game content by getting that final memory, final cutscene, and you don't get full ending of. If you do beat Ganon and you haven't found all the memories, you don't get full ending. So it's in the middle. It's debatable, but I would argue towards it being main quest.
Okay, I know it's listed on there, but it's like
I would say it's as main quest as like the beasts. You don't have to do the beasts to defeat Ganon.
Okay.
I'm debating this one.
That's true because I have heard stories about people defeating Ganon with like 3 hearts and not doing anything at all.
Oh, there's YouTube videos out there of people being amazing and doing that.
I can't even imagine.
Well, if you master that shield defense thing, you can kind of, if you really, and you have to nail it every time, where if Ganon shoots the laser at you, you deflect it every time. And that's what's kind of cool about this game is you can accomplish these things through massive amounts of skill, a certain amount of skill with some help, or by playing it classic style where you're getting rupees and buying things, or play it this kind of Monster Hunter style where you're cooking things and fishing for things and finding items. I didn't know how I felt about that in Breath of the Wild when it first came out. I was like, why are you putting Monster Hunter into my Zelda? Because I wanted to like Monster Hunter very much when it came out. Well, I played Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii, and I was like, oh, cool. It's going to be like World of Warcraft, but just 4 people, and we're going to go and hunt monsters together over the internet. And at the end of the day, all you're doing is like collecting nuts and you're just Anyway.
Yeah, there were some collectibles in Breath of the Wild that I was like, I could not care less about. Oh, goody, another one of these things.
So to wrap it up with side quests, I think this episode's probably gone on long enough. We should wrap it up. But how do you feel about side quests in general in Breath of the Wild?
I like most of them. I like the ones that add more story or like take a little more effort. There are multiple parts to them.
Yes.
I like the more complex side quests because to me, sometimes there wasn't enough main quest. So, so that's like another kind of larger piece that I really enjoyed playing and I felt more fulfilled by than just like, oh, I need 10 crickets. Like,
I played World of Warcraft about 10 years ago for 1 week, exactly 1 week. It was back before they did free to play. It was a long time ago. It was before all these updates. It was probably like in the early 2000s, and I played it for 1 week because they'd give you 10 days of free World of Warcraft, and so many friends said try it, and I tried it.
You played it on your free AOL trial.
Perhaps it was almost something like that. Yeah, right. It was almost something like that. But I played it for a week, and there were parts of it that I really loved. But what I didn't love about World of Warcraft is that everything you had to do back then certainly was go kill 5 boars, go collect 10 flowers. You know what I mean? And the reason I played it for a week is I kind of liked the game, but I was like, ooh, I might play this too much if I actually buy this. Ironically, this 10-day demo has taught me to not buy the game because I should not put this in my life. Because it was kind of fun. So when we kind of get those kinds of side quests in Breath of the Wild, my favorite side quests, I guess you could say, are the opposite of that experience. My favorite side quests in Breath of the Wild are the ones that build on the lore, and maybe not just by reading something. Maybe they passively build on the lore by walking past a Leviathan skeleton, not knowing what it means.
Sure.
Talking about this giant horse that roams the land, but they don't say, go talk to Jerry about it. You know what I mean?
Sure. And yeah, you might have to grab some bundles of wood, but you also get to see a cute little wedding ceremony.
Tarrey Town was a very fetchy kind of quest, but it's a big one, and they really go for it. And so I have to give it credit for that for sure. And definitely the reward.
And the music.
I would say that even those cutscenes are reward enough to accomplish that side quest.
Hate it all you want. I don't care. I love
it. All right, Kate.
I just like to see the characters get married.
Characters get married.
It's cute.
I was impressed that there was a certain amount of effort put into all the cutscenes and stuff. That was very nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get out of here. If people want to find you on social to talk about some of their favorite side quests, or if they agree or disagree with some of the things you said, they think Tarrey Town's the best as well, they can find you where and how.
They're only allowed to think that it's the best as well. No, I'm really only on Instagram, so I don't know if you want to just comment on one of my random pictures about Zelda. Feel free, whatever.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Could they message you on Instagram, perhaps?
You can do that. I forgot about that. That's a thing. I don't get many messages.
No, maybe you will now.
Maybe. So I only take cat pics on Instagram.
Fantastic. People can find me on Twitter and Instagram by searching Raptor Paint. And let's see. If they want to find the show, they can find us on Twitter at Another Zelda Pod or on Instagram at Another Zelda Podcast. You can go to our actual website, anotherzeldapodcast.com, or find us on Facebook. where we post a lot of. I think what we've been finding, what Leona and I have been doing, is we've kind of talked about it, and she's really led the way with this. We're kind of doing behind the scenesy things on Facebook, having conversations on Twitter, and then like sharing things on Instagram. And so that's kind of the place to do those things. A little bit. It's nice, and we've gotten a lot of nice replies in that way.
Yeah, it's been very cool.
It's been an absolutely fascinating. It's almost a full-time job, just kind of running that stuff and having that be part of the show, and that is really, really rewarding. So people can also find us on Facebook just by searching Another Zelda Podcast. And most importantly, just because it helps with the searches and it helps with our ranks, reviews on iTunes are so helpful. And it's not only is it a pleasure to hear those reviews, I say this every episode because it's just important on iTunes. It helps us get to more and more people. Leaving a review there would be phenomenal.
Yeah, tell us how awesome we are.
Well, you can technically tell us anything you want, but if you could be so kind, that would be so much appreciated. And it's always a treat and a pleasure to hear back from people who I said this 2 episodes ago, but I didn't say it to you, Kate. My favorite pieces of content that we get from our listeners are when we get this kind of thing like, oh, I just found your episode last week. I've already listened to 8 episodes. I can't, like I've binged it. And that's a wonderful treat. That's a wonderful treat to hear about. All right, cool. So that's it. I think in 2 weeks, we're going to be back talking about, it's going to be one of these episodes where you teach me. We do these kind of deep dive episodes where we teach each other.
I think you know more than, or you'll realize you know more than you think.
Perhaps. We're going to be talking about languages and logos. It's what we called it. We're just talking about the different kind of symbols and the different
emblems, language. It'll be cool.
The nerdiest that I get with the Zelda scripts, I guess you could say, or the different Zelda fonts and things like that, is that we do some Hylian fonts on our graphics, which is a lot of fun for me to put in there.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to learn more about where these different, because there's like Wind Waker font, there's typefaces and stuff.
We'll go all into it.
That'll be a lot of fun to learn about. I don't think I know that much about it. So in 2 weeks, we'll be back talking about that.
Awesome.
If you'd like to tweet us about your thoughts or recommendations or thoughts on the different kinds of lore that is behind the different languages of Hyrule and the Legend of Zelda series, please tweet us at Another Zelda Pod, like I said earlier. Till then, Kate, have a good 2 weeks.
Okay, bye.